Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today is April 14th and it's time to plant our onions. Finally, there's no rain. I don't mind working in the rain, I just can't film. So I put off planting the onions until I could film them together with you. Now it's spring break and the neighbors are off school. Some of them are kids and some are teachers. So if you see me wearing my earbuds, it's because I want a little bit more privacy. As you know, I'm hearing. If you haven't watched our intro video, my family's deaf. Our 5 adult kids are deaf. The in-laws are deaf. And Dale's hard of hearing, but without his hearing aids, he's deaf too. I sign because my family, community, and friends are deaf. And I believe in equal communication access, but I'm hearing. So come on, let's go plant the onions. We're going to plant them here. So first we need to open this netting and we need to move the kale. I still want to protect the kale seedlings from cabbage worms. You know those white butterflies? And I set up this netting because I'm going to start hardening off some of our other seedlings. The robin's drooling over this new soft dirt. I have 2 varieties of heirloom onions. This one is Walla Walla, you know, a big sweet onion. And the other is, let me check the name because I always get it wrong, Wethersfield red onions. They're from the 1700s. They're a very old onion. They're named after that town in Connecticut. But not a sweet onion. But apparently they were very famous. They made the farmers rich. If you want big onions, you need to space them properly. The Walla Walla want to be 4 to 6 inches apart. So I plan to space all of these onions 4 inches apart. I have this new dibber where you can adjust the little dibbers on it. And I space them 4 inches apart. Kind of awkward trying to plant those and film without blocking the camera. I'm going to gently tease apart the roots. Then, of course, you probably need to make the hole deeper and gently kind of twist in the roots and lightly put the soil around it. Don't drown them. Watering in is going to help that soil settle a little bit. Okay, let's work on some more. First, I measure the holes up against the netting so that I make sure they're at least 4 inches away from the end of the netting and the side of the netting. Now these hoops are really straight on the sides, so I can plant them just 4 inches from the side. And as the greens grow up, they'll have plenty of room. But if you're using a lower hoop that's more curved, you might want to set it back even farther than 4 inches. So if the roots really intertwine, be careful not to pull them too hard and break the roots off. Sometimes you can twist the roots in if they're not too long. Look at those. A little bitty baby. And we'll see if the little tiny baby grows. The seeds were sown mid-February. They germinated in 24 days. They've been growing for 5 weeks. Since they germinated, it's been 5 weeks. I hardened them off 3 whole weeks ago. That's when I started opening them up a couple of hours a day. And after that, it just rained and rained and rained. And I couldn't film planting them. I did film a couple of other projects first. Now I've planted all the red onions. Let's work on the Walla Walla. Now if you want big onions, you need to pick a variety that grows large and plant them in full sun. This is not an area that currently has full sun. Later in the summer it will. In April it's still partial shade. But last year I grew so many onions that were so big that I really don't need the top best crop this year. Don't plant them right up here against the netting. Leave over 4 inches. If you want to grow big onions, remember, pick the right variety that'll actually grow big, plant them in full sun, and you need to match them to your number of daylight hours. And in the deep south, you need to grow what's called short day onions. In the north, you can grow what's called long day onions. And in between, intermediate day onions. I can grow intermediate day onions and long day onions. Long day onions require more than 14 hours of daylight to bulb up. And intermediate day onions require 12 hours of daylight to bulb up. And short day onions require 10 hours of daylight to bulb up. They won't bulb up until they hit that number of daylight hours. So if you live in Florida and you're trying to grow long day onions, you're never going to form bulbs. These are both long day onion varieties. They're going to take 14 plus hours of daylight to make large bulbs. I like to change the position of the camera, but I'm kind of stuck right here against this fence. So if you want large onions, you need to weed. Onions do not like to compete with weeds. In the fall, I sheet mulched this area with cardboard, and then I topped that with mulch. There's very few weeds right now. But I've noticed that cardboard has already broken down. I've noticed here in north central Maryland, our winters aren't as hard of the freezes anymore. The ground doesn't stay frozen as long. And over my 12 years of mulching with cardboard, I've noticed the last 2 years by spring, most of my cardboard had already totally broken down. A warmer winter means maybe I need to start mulching with cardboard in the fall and again in the spring. Okay, let's plant more onions. Hey, Bowie. I'm planting my onions. Yeah, do you eat onions? The neighbor's boy was asking me what I was doing, so I gave him a few onions. If you want to grow big onions, you need to pick the right variety that'll actually grow big. You need to put them in full sun. You need to weed. They need to be weed-free. You need to pick the ones that match your number of daylight hours. And you need plenty of water. I'm going to add a link in the description from, it's a famous onion grower. I forget the name. Their watering guide. I followed that last year, and wow, I grew huge onions, the best ever. The Walla Walla, the sweet onions, they're not a long storage onion. They won't last long on the shelf or, hanging in a braid. Most sweet onions don't last. Really, with all my onions, I like to chop them up and freeze them. I will make a braid and hang it to look nice and pretty with the red onions. These specific red onions that are in Heirloom, well, I've read conflicting information, but when I actually found the history of the onion, it said they are a good storage onion. They will last through the winter if you store them the right way. It's a sunny day, so we for sure need to water them in. If you want big onions, you need to give them enough time. These variety are mature in anywhere from 125 days to 135 days. If you want to grow big onions, you need to plant them at the right time. The greens need cool weather to grow. And then the greens collect all of the energy from the sun to cause the bulbs to grow. And the bulbs need warm weather to grow. It's now mid-April and I'm at the end of my window to plant onions. You need to sow the seeds in mid-February, 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost. Typically, I start them indoors under lights, but this year I did them out in the jugs in winter sowing. Then you need to plant them 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost. Here in north central Maryland, that's mid-March through mid-April. And last, if you want to grow big onions, don't trim the tops. Don't trim the greens. Not even when they're babies. Not after they've grown. Each onion ring, each layer of the onion requires one leaf. So if you want big onions, you need as many leaves as possible. There's a YouTube channel called No-Till Growers. He's a professional farmer. And he really researched trimming onion tops. And he said that started by commercial growers to make them easier to harvest and easier to plant where they didn't tangle. It had nothing to do with making them grow bigger. And the research shows trimming the tops makes smaller onions. Interesting. Now come back and check the progress of our onions. Now the reason I'm using this net is to prevent the urban wildlife from digging in here. I blame myself. I feed the squirrels and the birds. I really enjoy them, but I don't want to share my onions with them. And I think we have a place in here to plant the kale. Last year using this netting, I had big, beautiful greens too. I have another video showing you how to set these up. These are tall super hoops. They're from a really popular YouTube channel. I think they're called Garden Answers. That's where I saw them. Thank you for visiting Withrow Urban Homestead. See you later. Bye-bye.